I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I believe that yesterday I had the single most awkward encounter that anyone has ever had with anyone else.
Really?
Ever. In the history of awkward encounters. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you any more about this story, which is unbelievable and flabbergasting, until an hour from now, when I believe we can make an entire show out of the thing that happened to me yesterday. I just need you guys to remind me in 1 hour.
All right.
To tell a story that is the single most awkward encounter two people have ever had. Now, I'm not maintaining that no one ever could reach this awkward standard. I'm maintaining that no one ever could have surpassed in awkwardness what happened to me yesterday.
Got it.
I have told this story to 4 people since it happened.
No one on this show knows yet?
Nobody on this show knows anything. You guys are going to be flabbergasted by all of it. Like, you guys are going to love all of it.
Well, we're not flabbergasted that you had an awkward encounter. You lead the league in that.
Mm-hmm.
But
not,
you're saying
not like this.
Really?
And you'll see.
Okay.
You'll see. I'm going to stop there. You will see. But in 1 hour, I need you guys to promise me, to remind me to start the show there.
I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I'm not certain I spelled awkward right, but I wrote it down on a piece of paper.
Let me see if you spelled awkward right.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it awkward because of you or because of the other person, or a combination?
Both and the surroundings. It is maximum. It is whatever is the maximum. We can go ahead and build up to this if you want. You guys can go ahead and tell me what you imagine to have been the most awkward encounter of your entire lives. And I am telling you that whatever that awkward encounter was, I am going to bury it with my story. Bury it. Like, you're going to be ashamed to have had your awkward encounter mentioned in the same breath as my awkward encounter.
My most awkward encounter was your Josh Norman hug.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. See, so that's nothing. I mean, it is only 1,000,000 times worse than that.
Okay.
A 1,000,000 times.
The rule is it's just between two people?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I can't knock it off with the Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty saying La La Land when the winner was Moonlight?
Ooh. Mike, I am telling you that what happened to me is 1,000 times more awkward than that. And if my moment had been in front of everybody the way that moment was, this moment would register for eternity as something that would still be going viral until internet dies. Like, if people had video of what happened to me yesterday, if people had video of this, they would be able to sell it for lots of money.
Can we poke around and ask questions to you for clues?
But here's
was Warren Sapp involved?
Someone has to have been naked.
Here's the issue.
Did he melt your face?
Here's the issue. I don't want to talk about it too much. I've already way oversold the story. And so my philosophy, under promise and over deliver, is in real jeopardy here, because I have sold this story as a historic story. But I'm just telling you that in an hour we need to pick it up, and all of your questions will be answered. And I look forward to what happens to the show after I tell this story.
So there's a naked Warren Sapp?
I'm not answering any more questions. I'm not talking any more about anything. People will have to find out in an hour. J.K. Simmons is going to join us at 9:30 Eastern.
J.K.'s got a weird residency on this show now.
Yeah, he just sort of hangs out for a few minutes. We make fun of, like something in his career, and then he goes off and advertises the next thing joyfully. Because he seems like a very happy person, does he not? Like, he seems, every time he's on with us, he seems, not in Whiplash, obviously, but every time he's on with us, he seems happy to be on with us.
He's got a dry sense of humor, I think, too.
Yeah. He does seem to be happy. I love him. I think he's great. I really do, man. And would you be happy? I mean, the guy's making a killing doing TV commercials. Seriously.
I'm excited to see this show that he's a part of. I think that's what he's promoting, right? Counterpart? Yeah, I'm very excited for this. He plays 2 roles. It's like The Parent Trap, but adult with guns.
How they just told us on SportsCenter that they check with Countdown, and that Countdown doesn't know anything about Stugotz being on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a major problem, man.
Last I checked, this thing was still full go.
Okay.
What is happening here? What is it?
Well, I don't know if they're checking with Sam Ponder and she's not clued into this feature. I don't know who they're checking with over at Countdown. I'm speaking with what might just be a rogue producer.
But is there a chance that I sit down and do a 20-minute interview on a Friday where I want to get home because I have a tea time on Friday? Is there a chance that, Dan, Mike, you guys would know, is there a chance I do all of it and nothing that I say fits to their piece?
There is a chance. You've got to be really good. My guess is, though, in most instances, if people waste the time of sitting down with anybody for 30 minutes, they will use a sentence of soundbite just to show that they talked to somebody else and didn't waste the company's money.
Right, it might just be a minute.
That's how Stugotz ended up in the 30 for 30. Don't we have Stugotz's only words from the 30 for 30?
Yes.
How long was this interview that you did on the 30 for 30 about the Mike and the Mad Dog show?
I sat down for, I believe it was 90 minutes after the show. 90 minutes after a show.
You did a night. See, this is one of the reasons I don't like television, Stugotz, and I've never liked television, even though we now work for a television company. This absurdity. Television, I've found all my life to be one of the most inefficient things I've ever seen, where you sit around for 90 minutes, you talk for 90 minutes, and then when a piece airs, it's 2.5 minutes, and they've talked to 10 people for 90 minutes, and like an eternity on television is a 3 or 4 minute package.
I would have taken 2.5 minutes.
I know, but this is all Stugotz got. Stugotz sat down. This is why I hate television. What we're about to do for you here is why I just don't have any use for it. I don't respect the medium. This right here is a 90-minute interview with Stugotz about how much he cares about Mike and the Mad Dog and growing up on Mike and the Mad Dog. This is all that appeared from that on the entire 30 for 30.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
I was so upset, man. Really was.
I mean, you should be.
Not even, upset is the wrong word. I was furious.
I mean, you should be. How can that not be deeply hurtful? Like, I spent 90 minutes with you guys, and all you guys put on television is this?
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
I cried at one point.
I told my dad to watch.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
I mean, the whole thing was my idea.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Stugotz is doing that interview. He's crying. He's crying. Yeah. He's talking about his youth. He's talking about dreams. And they take Stugotz and distill him into this ridiculous cube.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
All right, television.
I gave him some good stuff, man. I
really did. You're going to speak for 20 minutes, and it's just you saying, Chris Simmons is crazy.
Yeah.
They just go to like
I could just say that. I mean, if that's what they want, I'll just say it. I mean, I've decided that's the way I'm going to go.
But, Mike, here's one of the many things that's funny about this. It's Stugotz yesterday had in his imagination, he's talking to me in the corridor, and he's like, you know what we should do? I should go and argue against Chris Sims just for the sake of arguing, not believing anything I'm saying. And then what they should do is they should have graphics and stuff that point to me saying he doesn't believe anything he's actually saying. And so Stugotz had already created in his mind that Countdown was going to become the Stugotz show, like that everybody was going to be working around Stugotz.
Yeah.
Because Stugotz's life is basically us working around him to make him maximum Stugotz so we could all churn together behind the maximum Stugotz into the sky.
Appreciate it, everyone.
Can you make my shirt out of actual bells and whistles?
Yes, that's right. That's it. That's right. Stugotz's like, look, me, not enough. You do understand. I'm going to come in unshaven. I'm here just for the glory, right? I'm going to come in. I'm going to say a bunch of stupid stuff about it. I don't believe any of it or whatever. I'm just going to say words.
Yeah.
And you guys go ahead and fix that up, all right? Because that's what I'm used to. My life is, for the last 15 years, been a whole lot of people working to get Stugotz up the hill.
Thanks again.
Right. You know what I mean? But once you get there, you expect those people to behave like that, and it's the Hasselbacks.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, not really.
That's a good point. I just figured. I thought it was a funny idea. I really did. Like,
no, it is a funny idea. If Countdown were built around you.
Yeah, it's not. So Sam Ponder, you're saying, potentially might get in the way of this? Because Sam and I are good. She comes on my radio show every single Sunday.
I'm just saying the SportsCenter folks, they probably didn't speak to the one rogue producer who came up with this idea. Maybe he's just getting this in the can and trying to pitch it.
Well, what is the deal? When is Stugotz supposed to go on?
He's supposed to record his portion for Countdown after our radio show.
Okay. All right. We'll find out together then.
I mean, I'm going to be sitting there watching every single second of NFL Countdown, just waiting for my face to come on the screen. It better come on the screen. There's going to be issues on Monday if it doesn't.
I hope it comes on the screen, just pops up at the bottom and just does this.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
And then vanish.
I don't understand why you still get so excited. You're on TV every day for 3 hours. Why does this still excite you so much?
It's Countdown, man. I mean, it's Countdown. It's being on an NFL pregame show. That's I've never been there before. It's places I've never been to before.
But you're big now. Like, you're not, this isn't local Stugotz on $7.90 the ticket anymore. Like, you're a big deal now somehow.
Guillermo, listen. Somehow, right? Well, because of you guys.
Because we've all been working this pushing this mound up the hill for a while.
And thanks again. Bill, this is one step closer to Monday Night Football. That's what I'm thinking.
See,
Yeah.
now you got it, Bill. Now you got it.
I mean, why not me? Why not me? I'm available. I know football. I watch football. I'm passionate about football. I'm as passionate as anyone that they'll throw in that booth. That's for sure.
But you need to fly every week somewhere different, and you need to sit in meetings.
No,
and
I
can't do it from home.
No, he's not going to do it that way. No. He's going to have deal points no. He's going to do it by Skype or something. You know he's going to do it from a Barca lounger on the 8th tee. Like, he just...
Yeah. It's funny because they've asked me to do some lacrosse games for ESPNU this year, and I'm very excited about that. And they sent me the schedule and asked me to pick games. And on the schedule, it says live, on location, or in Charlotte, or we might do this one, I love
the idea of you as a roving reporter like Marty Smith. I do love you just sort of sausage fingers doing your thing. Like, I love the idea of that on events bigger than lacrosse games.
Well, I'm excited. It's a good idea, but I'm excited to do the lacrosse games. But there's also an option where I guess you could do it from like down here. You're watching the game, you call, and I like those options. Like those.
Where you don't have to go anywhere.
I get paid, and I don't have to go anywhere. I mean, and I get to call the games. That is fantastic.
Yeah, but you won't be on camera. I don't think you have to go to some sort of broom closet.
All right,
and call
then scrap that idea.
Over under 3 games Stugotz does of lacrosse next year.
Oh, I think it'll be one. I think it'll be one game that he'll do one and then realize that was fun, but that's not really something I want to put that effort into, having to take a flight, and it's all the stuff. It's not, you'd like to do it if it was easy, but you're going to realize that it's going to be it might be fun when you do it, but the steps to get to the fun, I feel like you're going to throw your hands up and say, nope, I expect work in my life to be much easier than this.
I gave them 7 or 8 games that I'd be willing to do. I mean, I did. They're fairly close, and they'd be fun trips for me and my family, but
you're picking like prime assignments, right? They don't care that if it's like number 1 versus number 2, they want you a part of it, right?
Yeah, no, they gave me the option of like the ACC tournament. They gave me, like Penn at Princeton, Duke at Syracuse, Carolina at Duke.
Mike, what I'm telling you though is that Stugotz thinks he's gonna like walk into our environment, and what he's gonna walk into is, okay, we've got meetings this morning with the players. He's going to run into the ESPN layers of meetings.
Oh, I can't wait for the coaches meeting and the players meeting. In fact, what the guys told me is, hey, we want you to come on and just be Stu. There's a guy who calls the game. We want you to be Stugotz. Just he'll work around you. You take it wherever the hell you want to take it.
If they give you that freedom, then I will take back the number I'm talking about. I think you're going to run into the whole sports machine thing. and an executive is going to be like, no. We take our lacrosse seriously around here.
I don't think he's going to run into that because it's lacrosse, because he can actually boost an audience. I actually I know you mentioned like do it with a bigger sport. I love that it's lacrosse because I will go out of my way to watch lacrosse if Stugotz is a part of the broadcast.
Well, that's what we need to do. Now we need to go and get Stugotz, our army, his army, over there to like, so that they get confused by what the lacrosse number is. They're like, wait a minute, what? How are 80,000 people watching this on Periscope?
This is television programming 101. The number one show on ESPNU is the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. So this is just a crossover episode to siphon off some of those viewers.
I'm actually really excited about this because I think, we talk about all the time maybe changing the way play-by-play is done. I'm not saying I'm going to be the person who does it, but at least someone's willing to take some chances where, now granted it's ESPNU and it's lacrosse, but I think it's a safe, easy place to do it, right? To take some chances.
Well, no, I believe that the future of television programming, now that ESPN has bought everything in sports, that the next evolution of this is going to be some form of, do you want to watch the game with your favorite ESPN personalities? Do you want to sit down and watch whatever it is on television that night with the show you love or the people you love? I just think it's an interactive experience that ESPN can now give that you can't get anywhere else in television.
Correct, yeah.
And people, the reason I say this is because we did this megacast, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say about the numbers, but I'll just tell you that people were watching us watch the game with more intensity and for more time than people were watching the game.
I know, it's crazy. And thank you to everyone who did that.
No, but what I'm saying is like that kind of audience, if it comes with Stugotz to a lacrosse game, if Stugotz can take 80,000 Periscope people with him wherever he goes, they will send him places where they need him to go.
Right.
If what you keep bringing with you is that kind of army that wants to just see you do dumb bleep in the cathedral, like Stugotz being a clown, Mike Stugotz, for all his delusions about thinking he'd be great at every job in sports, Stugotz would be great at the Marty Smith job. Stugotz is a natural on television, being himself, just sort of waddling around, with very little self-awareness.
Yeah, but I don't know if I appreciate that. I don't know if I want to wander into Marty Smith's territory, though.
That's high praise that you're a natural at being yourself.
Yes. Well, it's hard being yourself. It is when there are cameras. I just, listen, I am what I am. I'm not going to change. I don't even notice the cameras half the time. But I don't want to, like, that's Marty's domain. I would feel bad, like, maybe.
No, but you do it much differently than he does it.
Slow your roll, okay?
What do you mean?
That's apex, okay?
That is apex.
You're going to be in a broom closet calling a John Hopkins game.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for that. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
561, eat it!
Stugotz.
Eat it, 561.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
I don't know if any of you feel this way, but there's something that happens to me with the Miami Heat that we were so spoiled during those 4 years of just crazy, where the Heat were the Golden State Warriors before the Golden State Warriors, that this Heat season has been really nice. This is a nice team, easy to fall in love with. They work really hard, fun to watch, nobody who's unlikable, and they've got their record in a place where all of Miami's got to be like, man, those people know what they're doing. They are good at their job. Everybody involved there is good at their job, and yet still, they're a game behind Cleveland, which is falling apart at every turn. That Cleveland at its worst, most broken, dangerous, that Cleveland at its worst is still a game better than you in the standings. And it's one of those things that reminds you, man, I miss so much those times when we were that.
Yeah.
When everybody else was what the Heat are now. And the Cavs are better than the Heat. We all know that. In every way, they are having a calamity of a season, and it's still been better than this season that's been a delight for Heat fans. A delight.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we still suffer from some sort of hangover effect from having that team. I don't know when it will go away. We're never going to see a team down here like that.
I know, but I think it's weird that I'm still doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's weird. I'm doing it as well. I think a lot of people are still doing that.
I think the cockiest of Heat fans and the people that are just snorting the culture would point to and say, well, it actually hasn't been that fun of a season. The Heat season started getting fun around Thanksgiving, and that's when they started playing an aesthetically beautiful game. And if you believe that that's the Miami Heat team, then you're looking at Cleveland and saying, yeah, we're better than you.
But we had the funnest seasons, that you could possibly have. Even the ones that didn't result in a championship. How could that be any more fun from just a rooting for your team, just from a sports interest, a sports story? It can't be, and everything's going to fall short in comparison.
But you guys are always reminding me that it's unfair what I do, right? Saying Golden State's going to win the title for 5 years, nobody else should try, and then talking about any Miami Heat conquest in the present paired against those teams, everything pales compared to that. And so my Miami Heat experience is diluted. Mine, which I don't know, I guess that probably makes me a front runner. My personal experience is I will watch these games. I will be interested in these games. I will be entertained by these games. I will marvel at all the things the Heat do and enjoy watching it. And yet there's something there that it doesn't feel like stakes. Never mind the stakes of playoff basketball, just this weird place where we lived for 4 years where every damn regular season game meant something for 4 bleeping years in a way that it felt like whatever, a drug high is, you just stay there the entire time for 4 years.
I don't think you're unique in that feeling. Even the most ardent Heat fans are sort of chasing that dragon.
Oh, no, but I feel like you, for example, you as a really passionate Heat fan, I feel like you care about this team in much the same way that you cared about those teams. What I'm telling you is that I care less about everything that's happening. Everything about my caring is very low.
Oh, but to a very large degree, Dan, I care a lot less too. A loss to the Bulls during the 4 years of LeBron, I would lose sleep over that.
It would hurt. Yeah.
It would stay with me the next day. Now I take it in stride. So to that respect, I care less.
It has to do. You knew those teams were going to end up in the NBA Finals every year.
There's some revisionist history there, buddy.
Well, you had a feeling. At the very least, you knew there was going to be.
Stugotz, if we'd known all of that, it wouldn't have been as fun as it was. We did not know all of that. We absolutely did not know all of that. In fact, there were.
Maybe the first season.
In the first 2 years. No. What do you mean? Stugotz, the blueprint was on the line in the second season against the Celtics.
But they got it done.
I know, but you're saying. No,
what I'm saying is you knew that stuff like that, first season, every regular season game felt like a playoff game. They get to the NBA Finals, they don't win the NBA Finals. Then you knew going into the next season they'd probably be a bit better, and you knew they had to get it done that year, win a championship, or perhaps Riley.
You have no memory.
Or perhaps Riley. No, that's what I was thinking at the time.
Stugotz, during year 1 and 2 of the Miami Heat, every Heat fan was terrified that they were going to lose early. I don't know what you're talking about. For 2 years, Heat fans with that team were terrified that they were going to lose early. The Pacers and Roy Hibbert scared the holy bleep out of South Florida.
Right, but that kind of made it fun. You knew you were going to have series in the playoffs with serious stakes attached to those series. You don't have any sort of feeling with this team. You know the ceiling is maybe the Eastern Conference semifinals. That's it. Then it's over.
Well, maybe it's funny that you mentioned maybe that first season, because maybe that first season, do you remember how the playoffs actually went down? The Miami Heat ran through the Eastern Conference. They had Philadelphia, they had Boston, and they beat Boston in 5 games. And they went to Chicago, which everyone thought that was going to beat them.
There was a lot of doubt about that Chicago series.
And they won that game, series in 5.
Then they're up 1-0, and then they're up big in game 2 at home against Dallas. They're shadow boxing in the corner. My memory is just fine, by the way.
Yeah. So you think that, you're running roughshod over the entire NBA.
You're looking at the internet first.
I'm on Twitter right now. I'm looking at outside the lines.
Then you lose that NBA Finals. catastrophic. A feeling of despair that probably hasn't been felt in this sports town, right? The very next year, you go into the playoffs, and your blueprint is on the line with Dexter Pittman making an emergency start against the Indiana Pacers, and Dwayne Wade's going to Tom Crean, and everyone's soul-searching. This isn't even the Celtics series.
That's the point I'm making, Stugotz. The part your memory is failing to remember is the idea that those first 2 years were not everyone knew the Heat were going to the finals. It was absolutely not that. The parade made us think that, and then the start of 9 and 8 made us doubt it, and then their whole season, LeBron was crying in the locker room.
I understand.
LeBron was crying in the locker room after a regular season loss to Chicago.
But, Mike, you're telling me headed into season 2, we weren't thinking, okay, this team's going to be 1 year better, and we think they're going to get back to the NBA Finals?
Your memory is so faulty on this.
Wow, were you guys wrong? And was I right?
Yeah. Not at all. Yep. And remember, we had to taste that defeat for an extra long time because that was a lockout season.
Stugotz is the best.
You guys were
he
that
knew
nervous.
Everything all along. J.K. Simmons with us now on ESPN Radio. His new series, Counterpart, premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. J.K. Simmons has become a friend of the show. Because every once in a while he comes through here and we remind him about his 2-2-gram past. 2-2-grams, is that what they were called?
Yes.
Do you think J.K. fancies himself as a friend of the show? I
don't
wonder.
know. I don't know. It didn't sound like it. Their counterpart, J.K., tell us about it. You've been doing, man, I hope everybody gets to age as gracefully as you have.
Oh, gee, thanks. Yeah.
Weird.
Am I supposed to talk about how gracefully I'm aging now, or about?
He did ask you two questions.
No,
there,
what
yes.
I'm saying is, like, you've had just this great career resurgence after 50, and it's just nice to see because you're really talented and you pick good projects.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and now that I have a bunch of trophies on the shelf, I have more to pick from, which is a great benefit from that.
It feels like, though, what he's doing there, J.K., tell me if I'm wrong, is he's criticizing everything you did before you were 50.
No, I'm saying...
Pretty much.
J.K., is your career not super unusual? I mean, it's not as unusual as Liam Neeson becoming an action star later in his acting career, but isn't your story unusual?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's unique, in fact. Unique to me. Yeah, I was schlepping around for a long time, making $112 a week doing theater in Buffalo or wherever, and loving life. You know, it's not like that was horrible either. But about the time I finally decided to grow up and settle down and get married and have some kids was about the time I started actually making a living. And one thing's led to another. I'm like a big snowball rolling downhill at this point.
And so Counterpart is part of the Avalanche. So you get a part of this, and what drew you to the project?
Just Justin Mark's script. I always tell my agent I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to know the synopsis, the back, anything. I just want to read the script. And so I didn't even know about the big sort of bombshell that happens on page 20-something. I was just reading along, and they said this character named Howard, and I fell in love with the way this guy writes and the world he creates and who this character is, and then yeah, like I said, I get to page 20-something, and they bring Howard into this room, and it's all hush hush and secret, and then the big bombshell gets dropped, which I know it was so cool to me when I was reading it. I thought I wish audiences could experience that same sort of moment, but I think everybody's going to know that there are two of me, so I get to work twice as much.
What is the most unusual? What would you say is the most unusual acting experience of your life in this regard? Two of you is unusual, but it's been done before. Weird as it is, what would you say is the most unusual thing you've had to do in this regard?
Well, it's my first time for two of me, so certainly in a way this would be the most unusual for me, except, of course, for the 2-2-grams stage, which was unusual and remains unique in my personal experience. Yeah, I don't know, probably some stuff in the theater days, I guess, just playing, something like Captain Hook and donning this big sort of
JK,
rock wig.
How about having your wife directing you in a movie I'm Not Here. How was that? Was that unique? That had to be a weird experience for you.
No, it was especially since we met. Well, we met on that Peter Pan I was just talking about. We met as theater actors, and she's this cute little Broadway baby, and fast forward to whatever 20-some years, and now she's directing me in film. But we started out doing that when she first started getting into directing, filmmaking, making little short films. That relationship, started there. And I'm used to getting bossed around by her anyway, so really
Well, I was going to say, was there any awkwardness on the set? Like, was there any one memorable moment where you remember, that doesn't feel very good to have that happen in public?
I'm just kind of naked in the movie a lot, so it was a little awkward in general. But it was that was a great film to be directed by your wife instead of some random stranger saying, "All right, now walk over there with your lily white butt," And
Yeah. All right. So any memorable details beyond your nudity on the set of her directing you during what sounds like a nude part?
Yeah, it's it's I'm joking about it. It's a very dramatic, intense sort of largely kind of sad film, and the character that I play is just kind of at the end of his rope, so he's home alone, and he puts on a robe eventually, so I don't want audiences to be frightened. She wanted me to basically be naked a lot and look as bad as possible naked. So there were the two options of put on a bunch of weight and be kind of fat and bloated and gross, or get kind of scrawny and emaciated, which just seemed healthier to me and appealed to what's left of my vanity. So that was the option that I went for. And I had the Santa Claus beard at the time, and it was just a couple of months after that the photo that broke the internet of my massive guns came out, which with the big beard, which my friend's son called Shredded Santa.
It is one of the great photographs ever taken, and one of the great shocks of my life to see J.K. Shredded Santa, J.K. Simmons. It was a marvel, and I don't mind telling you, you look good naked. I don't mind telling you.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. You should strut around proudly. New series Counterpart premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. You should watch it just because we like this guy. He just makes great decisions. He really does. You cannot spell jacked without the J.K. Thank you, J.K. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Stu.
All right, J.K.
I really do like that dude, man.
That's great.
And I'll watch him. I will just watch him just because he's chosen the project. There aren't a lot of people I will do that with.
Who's another?
I mean, you've heard me talk about directors and writers.
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon. Well, I'm trying to think because
are you going to watch this Waco miniseries that debuts next week?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what is the guy? Is it Hardy? What is the Thomas?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. And like if he's made a choice, I want to see what he's doing.
Thomas Hardy.
It's not Thomas Hardy.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it is. That's what Tom is usually short for, but no one calls him that. No one calls him Thomas Hanks.
Guillermo, do you have any Marlin stuff for us?
I mean, they're supposedly going after this Cuban guy, but I don't see that happening. I don't trust him, Dan. I don't trust him. By the way, I'm going to loop you in on the very early stages of this. Lorenzo had a really good idea today that he texted me. He wants to have a counter fan fest somewhere else at the same time as actual fan fest.
That's the kind of stuff I want to be doing. That's more
plausible than a parade.
Well, I was thinking we could do a parade around Fan Fest because, I mean, we'd have to rent a space. But I was thinking if we have an opposite Fan Fest, we have to try to get Conine and McKeon and Tommy Hutton and Rich Waltz. We have to have all the people that they kicked out of there join our Fan Fest, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I want to start doing big messy projects like that instead of just talking about them. It feels like we have now the resources behind us and the support for the moment anyways that will allow us to do some of these ridiculous things as we keep talking about them and not actually doing them. A counter fan fest is something that would be a lot of fun.
Appearance fee?
Don Batard.
My last name means illegitimate son of the king, Stugotz. Were you aware of that?
Stugotz.
No. You know what my last name means, right?
This is the Don Batard show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Guillermo, what's going on with the sculpture? What is the latest? I want all the details. I want to understand what's being reported, what the fight is, what's going to happen. Give me the prognosis on that hideous statue that needs to be removed from Marlins Park.
I can tell you what's going to happen. If
No,
that
I don't want
sculpture's
your hot
gone,
take. I don't
that
want-
Jimenez is going to be gone too. And by the way, you can never trust a Jimenez with a G. Let's just say that right now.
Is that true? Put it on the poll. Can you trust a Jimenez with a G? Mike, are you made uncomfortable at all? Haven't we leaned on Jimenez with a G for some things, and he came through with like parade permits for parades we never did? And
Yeah,
stuff?
Jimenez has actually been an ally of ours. First off, he made the proclamation of Edwin Pope Day. He actually showed up to Pope Fest.
I think we need to ride with Jimenez instead of Guillermo.
And,
Okay.
okay.
Do
Guillermo,
that,
I'm
Dan.
riding with you,
Do
man.
that, Dan.
Yeah.
And-
See Carlos Jimenez put up polls, please.
And the parade that never happened for a marching band to nowhere, the least of my concern was the mayor's office. That wasn't a hurdle at all.
The mayor's office is a friend of the show, Guillermo.
To his credit, he got rid of red light cameras. That's good. But if he gets rid of this statue, I'm telling you, we're going to have problems. And 2020 is not going to look good.
Chris is so right. I'm telling you, we're going to have problems. As Chris just shouted, it's like when Stugotz says it. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, it does. What it means is we're going to call you and say, Dan, use your influence around here and get some stuff done.
Will you please tell us? Will you please tell us where the statue stands? Like what?
It's center field.
Where the statue situation stands.
Last I read about it, he went on a tour of Marlins Park, which seems unnecessary, as I told you yesterday, because it's been there for 5 years, and you can go there anytime you want. And he's gonna, because the county told Derek Jeter and the Marlins, or reportedly, that they couldn't get rid of it because it was protected under some sort of arts and public places thing. And now the mayor's going to try to help him skirt around this issue somehow.
Mike, help me understand something here, okay? Let's just say, hypothetically, that somehow magically this show had the ability to actually make that decision to either keep the statue or eliminate the statue. I'd want it eliminated. It would be my strong preference. Am I running in the minority or am I running in the majority of South Florida? My very strong preference would be get that monstrosity out of here and any memories of art dealer Luria as fast out of that park as you possibly can. But am I alone on this? Do you people really like this statue?
I'm really indifferent about the statue. I don't mind it. But I think if Derek Jeter came in here and did all the right things and wanted to take down the statue, I think we'd be okay with it. It's the fact that he hasn't done anything right. He's operated like Jeffrey Loria. I don't want Jeter to get another win here.
All right, okay, but let's do it this way. Let's say by some magical thing, this show became a consultant to Jeter.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Thank you, Guillermo. I appreciate your
I don't
thoughts
see them
on the
taking
matter.
my advice.
No,
on things
okay,
anytime
but I'm
soon.
saying, no, well, first of all, it wouldn't be. It'd be our advice, and what would our advice be? Is my answer. If we were advising Derek Jeter on South Florida, what is the right advice to give him on what to do with that statue? Like, is there a right move? You're saying just leave it there?
I'm saying leave it there. Yeah, that people are, listen, Dan, this is what it's getting down to. I'm not alone when I say I don't want Jeter to win another thing. Just leave it there. If there are any fans who love that thing and want that thing there, just leave it there. Why give you that? Why? No, seriously. Why give them another opportunity to get mad at you?
What I'm not going to do, look, you've heard me emotional on the Marlins, too emotional probably, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do this to Jeter where any moves he makes is automatically the wrong move. I'm not going to do that.
Well, make a right move then.
Okay. I mean,
until he does. I mean, he hasn't made a right move yet.
If we're doing majority rules in here, Stugotz and Billy, our team, keep the statue. Roy, Chris, and Dan are take it down because we don't want any ties to Loria. I can be swayed either way. It is kind of ugly.
What?
That's a thing.
No, it's great. It lights up. It shoots water. It's fun.
It doesn't do
it's
any
a
of
fun
those
thing.
things. No,
Guys, the three of you have been to this stadium like 7 times combined.
It was
You're saying it
designed
doesn't
to-
count.
I had season tickets just as much as you did last year.
Yeah.
I had 81 games.
You sold
went
like
to
74 of them.
It was designed to shoot water. It never did.
Yeah, it was great. What are you talking about? And it was like a safe harbor for that cat that ran on the field. It's great. That thing is great.
Billy's the worst.
How many did you sell, Fat Chris?
I didn't sell any. I didn't have the full season, but I went to all the ones I had. I didn't sell any.
Wait a minute. You were going to just go flying past the addendum sentence that Guillermo dropped on all of that, plus it was a safe harbor for that cat?
Remember that cat on opening day was running around the field, and then it went up and it was safe on that statue? That's like the Statue of Liberty for that cat.
It is.
That statue was the Statue of Liberty for that cat, the way the Statue of Liberty was, the Statue of Liberty for immigrants coming to America.
Eagles.
Yeah.
And you never had to worry about the cat getting crushed because the statue never worked.
They had to turn it off for that cat's safety.
Oh,
that was a big cat. Remember? That thing was like a panther. That thing was enormous. It's so muscular. What kind of cat was that?
Right.
What's it eating? I want to eat that.
Dan hit the nail right on the head. This Billy, he just is going to take every stance against Jeter, and it's starting to annoy me. There, I said it.
I mean, it can't.
But how much benefit of the doubt can you give this guy? Oh, he'll figure it out. Oh, he'll figure it out.
No.
He's making decisions that are going to impact this team for the next decade.
Whoa. You're saying how much? You're saying how much benefit of the doubt to give him? Are you willing to give him any? Are you willing to give him? My question is reversed on you. Are you willing to give him? Because I haven't seen evidence from you, not one percentage point of evidence that suggests you're willing to give him any benefit of the doubt on any decision.
This is a stupid decision. Like, this is not something that really impacts the product or the team, the statue. Like, get rid of the statue, keep the statue, whatever. That doesn't impact the team for the next decade. Trading the best players that this team had for prospects that people have said are subpar is going to impact this team for a decade.
Agreed.
So we can't afford to give him the benefit of the doubt to figure these things out while he's doing them when these decisions impact the team, not now, but for 5, 6, 7 years from now. We've lost the assets already, or some of the assets that we've had, and that's what's going to make this team better in the future. And if you're not getting the right pieces back, then why should I give him the benefit of the doubt on things? He's already messed up the team. These decisions impact the future, Dan. He's messed up the future of the team, not the present.
I'm talking to you about your confirmation bias. If you're arriving, the way decisions work, if you're arriving at every conversation about the Marlins with Jeter doesn't know what he's doing, he's a jerk, I hate him, everything's the wrong thing, then no matter what he does, that's how you're going to receive it. All of it. In which case, if he says he's keeping the statue, Billy, you might get mad at that too.
No, I love the statue.
No, but what I'm saying to you, I haven't seen evidence one time of something where you would say, Jeter did this, that makes sense. Not once.
But what has he done?
Right,
what has
name
he done
one,
that's made? I'd love to give him credit for something. Tell me what he's done that's been right so far.
I mean, we could start. How about this? Couldn't we start with firing David Sampson? Like, isn't that something?
Well,
you guys complained about the people they were firing.
Well, did he fire David Sampson?
Yes, he fired David Sampson.
All right.
But David Sampson, as I saw it, his job was to get that stadium done. Aside from that, David Sampson took the hit on everything, but he's not making personnel decisions. Like, he's an executive, but he's not doing baseball decisions.
What good thing did he do? Did he or did he not get rid of Loria? Yes or no? Is that a good thing? Yes or no?
I don't know. To be determined.
Right. Well,
to be determined.
But that's the thing, Billy. We thought it would be a good thing, but I don't know.
We can't just say that it's good because it's different because we don't know that it's good yet.
We don't know it's bad either.
His moves are to be determined. Look at the farm system a couple years from now. Then you'll be able to judge him. It's impossible to do it right now.
Watch the team next year.
Okay. I mean, it'll be interesting to see whether
They won't be. They'll be bad.
I know, but the first couple of games, will there be anybody there? Will there be? Are they going to play an empty ballpark opening day?